The day's finally come, Dusty. Ta-da! This is 100% legit. We haven't even made a pull. We have no idea what it's gonna do.
No clue. Hopefully better.
Hopefully better. So this is we got some guesses. It was 609 before. I really am hoping for 630 something.
I think I said 629.
You said 629.
7100. It's gonna move it up. We'll see.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just figured it'd be interesting because this has really been the end goal for quite some time. That looks pretty sick. We got the 102 throttle body back on it because it matched the intake, and we're not going to do a lot of swapping with that back and forth anymore. So we just figured it didn't hurt it. Let's go ahead and just keep it on there for now. And it looks better anyway. So we'll get to mics and all once we get some runs in. We're going to go ahead and start dialing it in, see where we're at, and go from there. So until a few minutes.
Yeah.
You guys will be
Seconds.
Yeah, right. Send them into the clip.
What?
Send them into the afterwards.
Oh. And
Yo.
All right, we're back. So
That's my first try at like
this was like
stop motion editing.
I'm not good at this. But so we got the Trinity on here and got some numbers. We got some runs in, and this is we kind of had this in the back of our mind a little bit. This might be something that we would run into, but we always preach combination. We talk about combination. There's nothing you can say that works on everything or is going to improve everything without the other supporting parts and mods. So what we found with this, and we'll talk about it a little more in depth, but this intake's going to want to make power in the higher RPM range. So everything you have in the car has to be matched to make power or peak or be in the power band at the same spot. So what we found with this was the camshaft that we have in this car is the same one that we've had the last couple of intakes.
Yep.
And it seems to peak at the same spot regardless of the intake. Well, this intake is not going to want to make power until a little bit later. So numbers.
Here we go. Yep.
And this is just full transparency. Like we don't hide anything. You know, you win, you lose, and you learn, and you make changes.
What was the the 583 was the stock
That
intake.
was a stock.
Yep.
That was a stock LS7 intake. Was the 583. Let's change this.
Look at that though, real quick before you move it.
All right.
Look, that curve is very similar to a stock LS7 intake.
Yes.
Oh, look at that, Dusty.
Oh, well, somebody's
Jeez,
spoiled,
somebody is spoilt. Okay.
yeah,
So-
the curves are the same.
That is, yes, the
And
same
so-
curve as a stock LS7 intake, except it makes a little bit up top and a little less down low. That was expected.
Yep.
What wasn't as expected, I guess, is the MSD just being that much higher everywhere.
Kick and tail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, with this combination, with the camshaft that we have in here, the red line is the MSD intake, and the green line is the Trinity. And you can see that the Trinity wants to make a little more power as
Yeah.
it kind of goes up.
Now
to
you can
here.
close the blue one, because
Close
I
the
know
blue
what you were
one.
going to say.
Yes.
I know exactly where you're going with it now that you say that.
Yep.
It's on a hit. I mean, it's on a nice path. Right about here, it's going up really nice where the MSD is already flattened, but for whatever reason,
the combination is just done making power at that RPM. And so the constant between these intakes has been the camshaft, and we knew when we did this build that the camshaft wasn't optimal. It's a shelf, kind of a temporary camshaft. So
yep.
what we want to do is, you know, we're not giving up. We know this is a good intake. We just have to kind of match everything to it. So we're going to go back, working with BTR. We're going to get a camshaft that's going to spin a little harder, turn a little more RPM, make a little more power, and see if we can't match that with this intake. We knew the MSD intake was starting to flatten out with the map sensor readings. We could kind of see things are just stopping, and the flow is kind of slowing down.
And the map sensor is actually higher throughout the entire run, which I thought that would also turn into, higher horsepower numbers.
Yeah. And then too, we've got a couple, and not necessarily with the Trinity, even with Hollies and other things. We have some people that will tune their car on a stock intake, they'll go put a Holly high ram on it, thinking they're gonna blow the world away, and they lose a ton of torque and pick up horsepower for like 500 RPMs, which in a really unusable spot where you're making more power than you were before, right before you shift. So again, combination dependent, what do you do with the car? So yeah, this does look awesome though.
Yeah, it does look good.
We did some cool plumbing and stuff. The fuel rails are awesome. It fit great. Everything bolts up just beautifully. It fits, of course, under the hood. So
When we put the 102 back on there.
we did put the 102, which we had tried before with the MSD, and it didn't make a difference. But
Correct. And the only thing is this one does have the mufflers on here now.
it does, yeah, which we saw last time in the previous video that it picked up a little bit up top.
But very, very minimal.
Minimal, very.
The cone filter was worth a lot.
It was more.
Worth more. And this was on here the whole entire time this time. We didn't even start with the VCM.
Yeah, we just knew we knew we were down with a VCM,
So yeah, I guess that's next. We're actually, before we do the cam, we'll probably have a 345 gear in there. Now that we have a sort of a new starting point, we can go ahead and put a gear in here, maybe even dyno it with the gear in here just to see if it's a difference.
Yeah, because
that'll give us a new base.
We're running 161 miles an hour in fourth at 7,000. And
this poor girl is,
there's no need to spin it quite that fast. So we're going to put a 345 and it's 292 in it now.
Yep, that should put us around that 140 mile an hour range, hopefully, and keep the speeds down on that. But yeah, like I said, we're not giving up, and it does look beautiful. I mean, it's a great looking intake. We've even thought about maybe getting this one ported as well.
Yeah, this is out of the box. That's a good point.
It is out of the box. No, nothing hasn't been touched at all.
But the MSD was out of the box too. So
That's
apples
true.
to apples here. We just kind of wanted to keep everything the same. We've got stock LS7 intake data, MSD atomic data, and BTR Trinity data. And so we do feel like that what we do with the car, this is going to end up being the better intake. So because we want to make the power a little bit higher, you're going to run faster at the racetrack if you keep your RPM up.
Yeah, we want to put a gear. Yeah, because we want to put our
tires.
345 gear back in it. We want to make 650. This has got me really saying, hey.
We always say don't worry about numbers, but Chris wants.
I got his number. I got a number in my head now, especially because we got the 609 last time. I was like, man, 40 horsepower, 41, that's doable.
Yeah.
So
they all get tough to get the more you make. Like,
on motor, it's really hard because we can't get it with timing. We can't get it with more boost.
Yeah,
we can't lean it out.
It's as efficient as it gets. And
and the air fuel.
So yeah, that is
really
a good
close
point.
as well.
When you back up and really look at the curve, you can see that before it goes really flat, this has still got a nice arc to it.
Yeah.
We just need to make everything kind of match where it starts to come on a bit.
650 is only right here, Dusty. Let me see.
It's off the chart right now.
It is off. Yeah, it is off the chart. But we will continue the research on this, and we did want to put this one out because, while we love BTR, we're not going to put out any kind of false data,
and they don't want that.
They want
those guys. They're like, hey, honest reviews, man. We're not selling snake oil here. They're not selling any kind of snake oil. They make good quality products that perform, and they all have an application, and we're going to find where this one wants to be.
And before I forget, we tried the same intake on Joe's car. Remember the ProCharged C5?
Yeah.
LS3 style.
Yep.
But that car picked up like 25 horsepower and lost no torque.
It did.
It's supercharged.
That's right.
And I was really excited about that one. We were making some pulls. His blower said, sayonara.
That's right.
So we ended that early, and we didn't do a video. But he'll be back soon. We do have the data from him before.
That'll be a good one. NA stuff is just so particular about the
exact
low pressure
combination
side of it. It is so particular.
And that's why we really want to get the numbers and get it as dialed as possible, because we've had a few inquiries on what do we need to do to make 600 horsepower now. Yeah. And they like that until they say the cost, until they see the cost involved.
Expensive. I mean, I've seen some stuff on the internet that's questionable.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, we just keep it real with everybody, and
we'll be out here again, and we will
realistic
definitely
expectations. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And we'll be out here again. We're going to continue with this one. It may be a little bit of time. We have a couple more builds coming up, and we're going to put a diff in this before we do the cam, so that we're not turning so much speed on the dyno. And until next time, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Man. Thank you, everybody. See you guys.